Welcome to the Dog Nerd Show, where we geek out over our best friends. I'm Megan.
And I'm Michael, and this is a show about all things dog.
Hey, everybody. We are talking about a very important issue today that has come to the forefront of the news, which is animal testing. And this is something that obviously I've known a little bit about for quite some time. But I was surprised when people were shocked to hear that dogs were being used for animal testing.
Yeah, I thought it was a thing of the past. I didn't know they were still doing it. So,
See, I haven't rubbed off on you quite enough, have I?
well, I don't use a lot of beauty products. This is natural, folks. I do use cleaning products, though.
Yeah. So many years ago, probably around 2010, 11, I was on Facebook when Facebook was still organic, and I was still seeing stuff as it came through. And I saw this like gut-wrenching video from Beagle Freedom Project. And Beagle Freedom Project rescues dogs from, well, animals in general, but they started with beagles, from experimentation situations. And this video, I'll find it and link to it in the description. But this video was of beagles that had recently been rescued, and their crates were set on grass, and they were opened. The crates were opened so the dogs could step on grass for the first time in their lives. And it was so heart-wrenching to see how scared and uncertain these dogs were, because they had spent their lives in a laboratory. And you know me, I cry at the drop of a hat. So I see these videos, and it just, it tugs at my heartstrings. So so that's when I first found out about Beagle Freedom Project. And they were a previous organization. They changed names and I guess a little bit of their mission around 2010. And they have since been rescuing animals from other situations as well. But this came into the news when people learned about the NIH and NIAID or whatever it is, and how they were doing experiments for human medications, pharmaceuticals on beagles. And people were outraged, and it wasn't a surprise to me. And I find that is something that I need to remind myself of, that, I know about these things, and that's why I write my books, is so I can educate people. But even in my book club, we read some books where some of these issues come up and people are surprised. And I have to remind myself that, it's like you told me many years ago, maybe when I first started writing the first book, you said, Megan, everyone doesn't care about these issues like you do.
Yep.
To some people, they've been impacted by breast cancer or Alzheimer's or whatever, and everybody has their cause. So dogs are my cause, but I do have to remember that not everyone knows about them. So today we want to educate you guys.
Well, I agree. This is something that if you own a home or apartment or anything, you're probably using a product that might have been tested on animals.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was interesting to me was how much of this is actually funded with taxpayer dollars.
Our money. We hear the word taxpayer dollars so much.
Right.
That's our money that
Right.
we are allowing to be spent on essentially the torture of animals for us to use products.
Yeah. And the other one that was shocking to me is how many universities are still doing this.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty prevalent out there. And I am going to dig into the research on what the alternatives are, because even Beagle Freedom Project mentions that there are alternatives to testing on animals. The other thing we have to consider is that, dogs are not humans, and, rats are not humans. So they're testing these things, but
It's a
it's apples and oranges, right?
it, it is, and it's the theory behind it. You kind of get, but the way I look at it is, we've existed as human beings for millions of years. And yes, we've had innovations and in medicine and everything else. Do we really need products so bad that we're going to, torture is what it is, torture animals?
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me, I am not a tree hugger. I am not, you're not going to find a picture of me, slinging blood or paint on somebody. I am a hunter. I am a fisherman. And there's a difference. And, when you take an animal that's innocent, like a dog, a beagle in this case, and some of the stuff that you were telling me about, it's just not, I don't see the point in it.
Well, and if you're hunting or fishing, you're hopefully doing it for the actual food, right? So
right.
We won't talk about trophy hunting. Another episode.
It's not. Yeah.
But so hunting for food is one thing. But when you're, even, you said, these innocent dogs, well, even rats and rabbits and other creatures, chimpanzees, we live in Atlanta. The CDC, God knows what's going on down there with animal testing.
And I am not a big fan of monkeys. Anyone that knows me, I don't like monkeys. They freak me out, but I don't want to torture them.
No. Animals are sentient beings. Anyone who has owned a dog or a cat knows that they feel. And then I've known people who've owned rats as pets and rabbits, and these animals do feel, whether people want to admit it or not. And they are all souls on this earth. So in saying all of that, it's funny that you mentioned the products and stuff, because I do try to get stuff that's cruelty free.
Right.
Do I do it 100% of the time? No, I'm sure I don't, but I need to do better at that.
Right.
So I get a facial cleaner from Trader Joe's. It's a tea tree oil facial cleaner, and it's got the little cruelty-free bunny logo on it. And I'll tell you what, that stuff got in my eyes once because the pump got clogged, and when it squirted out, it oh my God, I was like in so much pain. Guess what? I did not make that mistake again. I flushed my eye, but I made sure that if I'm using that, I probably squint when I dispense it, because I didn't need for it to be tested on an animal to know that it burns. I mean, obviously it has tea tree oil in it, so that's probably going to burn. But I learned my lesson. So,
a lot of products too that are out there that they're trying to make better or cheaper, or reproduce synthetically. They're just trying to replicate what happens in nature. And so, one of the best cleaners is vinegar and water. But go down the cleaning aisle at your local store, grocery store, or wherever you shop. There's thousands and thousands of different products on the market today, when good old vinegar and water works really good.
Yeah. And, think about what you're putting in your household too. So that's important. So, okay. In saying all of that, if you were unaware that dogs are used, and we'll just talk about dogs because we are a dog nerd show.
Right.
Why do they test on beagles? Well, beagles are very affable. They are sweet. They won't bite when people are trying stuff on them. And that's why they typically choose beagles. I mean, we know that just, with a terrier, you're going to get bit if you're trying to poke and prod and burn the skin on a terrier. So beagles are very affable. Another issue that Beagle Freedom Project is trying to alleviate, because, with all of this stuff, sometimes it takes baby steps, right? So they are saying that if you are testing on animals, we want you to release the animals to a rescue group when you're finished with them so they can be rehabilitated. Because typically what happens is these animals are euthanized.
Yep.
So that's a big objective for those people. So the truth is it happens. If you've read any of the stories about the Fauci experiments or, the Beagles and saw the pictures, that's probably some of the lighter stuff. I mean, there's some really serious stuff that comes out of these, from putting chemicals, or products in dogs' eyes. There was a Beagle that I read about on Beagle Freedom Project that they ended up having one of the eyes surgically removed because it had been so traumatized from so much testing in the eyes. So, I think this is just a reminder, like Michael said, use natural products like vinegar and water. I mean, you can go on DuckDuckGo, and Pinterest, search for natural cleaning remedies and make your own. Like you said, we've lived a long time. We don't have to have all these synthetic products and super harsh disinfectants and all that stuff. So, but I would say, learn about this. Go to Beagle Freedom Project. So it's bfp.org to read more about them. If you are looking to go cruelty free, they have an app. It's a $2.99 donation. So that's a donation that goes to them. And it's called Cruelty Cutter. So you can scan a product and find out if it's cruelty free. You can actually share your results. You can you can follow it. Will lead you to the social media for the companies and stuff like that. So you can really help educate other people in your sphere about it while you're doing it yourself. So,
well, you can also vote with your money.
Yep.
And so,
which is the biggest voice we have.
Yeah. If enough people say, hey, we're not going to buy this product because of what you're doing, how you're getting to the ends, your means don't meet the reason for the ends, then we vote with our dollars and our feet, and we just don't buy your product. And that's that makes people stand up and go, wait a minute. And we can take some of this research, we'll call it with quotation marks. We can take it and strangle it with no money.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else we should add about? I mean, I really just want to bring it to everyone's attention that, not only are rats and rabbits being used, but dogs are being used. Beagles tend to be the preferred dog. You can really go down the rabbit hole on this, of course. And we know, chimpanzees and other
pigs are a big one.
Yep. Yep. So it's a heavy issue. It's something that I'm glad has come to the forefront. I'm sitting there like, yeah, doesn't everybody know about this? But apparently not. So
well, one of the other things too, I think, since we talked about tax dollars or our money, is write your senators and your congressmen and let them know too. I think reach out to them and tell them how you feel about it. That really does go a long way when you reach out to them, because if enough of us do that, then it becomes a point. I know that there's a lot of bipartisan agreement on this issue, which there's not a lot of that in our world. So it's kind of great that that's being brought up. So let's just keep the foot on the pedal and let's stop this.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are very few issues that are bipartisan, but animal welfare does tend to go that way.
Yeah.
And Michael's right. The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Sure does,
there doesn't have to be a lot of us, but if we're loud about it, then we can make a difference. And on the Beagle Freedom Project's page, you can go to legislation and you can see some laws, some, state related and federal laws. They tell you how to get involved. They've got sample letters that you can send. So just, let's be more mindful of it. Let's think about, from everything to the food we eat, to the medicines we take, to the cleaners we use, like the household cleaners and cosmetics that we use, we are all very removed from the process.
Yes.
So the more you understand, where that chicken comes from, what kind of, is it free range, or is it living in tight quarters and getting pumped full of steroids?
Yep.
Is the cleaner that you're using being, tested on animals to see if it burns their skin? Is the makeup you're using being tested that way? So there are lots of options out there. It's nice to see, when I was a little girl in my early teens, this was a big issue for me. And it's nice to see now how much more cruelty-free products are out there, and even large cosmetic companies going cruelty-free. So that is a good thing to see.
I agree. Well, let's tell folks where they can find us.
Yeah, you can find us everywhere online at Dog Nerd Show, the handle. So social media, dognerdshow@gmail.com to drop us a line. And if you want to do some shopping, head over to etsy.com/shop/hound and thistle for dog lover products. And you can always find my books at RileyCarsonSeries.com. In fact, there's a free prequel that is on my website that you can just read for free and let me know what you think.
Oh, it's great. Well, folks, we really do appreciate this, and we would really like it if you like our content to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. It really helps us out a lot. And
more than you know.
Exactly.
The more eyeballs we get, the more people we can educate. And don't forget to drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts, any resources you suggest, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and if you're listening to us on the podcast, give us a 4-star or 5-star review, depending on which.
4-star.
Well, they're different on some of them. So give us the highest rating star you can.
There you go.
If you like what we're doing, and we really appreciate this, and we look forward to these. It's been tough. 2021's been a little tough for us, but we're back in the saddle, and we're going full steam with this. So we really appreciate you guys, and thank you for all our subscribers and people that tune in. We really do appreciate you.
We sure do. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.